Assalamu alaikum everybody. We're back into the core English communication module. Today we're going to be talking about planning, the importance of planning and different examples of planning just to get you going whenever you're going to be writing an essay. So what kind of planning techniques you could use. So this is still in module 1 and this is the part 4. So planning. This is a quote by Benjamin Franklin. It says, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So this shows, as you can see, the importance of planning. So obviously it's important that you prepare yourself for anything before you prepare to fail, if not. So a plan should help you focus on what you want to include in your writing. It should be a way of putting your ideas in order and sorting out the structure before you begin. Different methods of planning work for different people, but be willing to try out different approaches. So before deciding which one works best for you. So one example of planning is a mind map. A mind map is a visual way of planning where keywords are used to connect ideas with lines. Mind maps are a flexible way of jotting down ideas and making links. So you can easily add to a mind map as you're working. It can be a working document for some, and then you can add as you write on. So this is an example of a mind map. You can see it's very colorful. So basically over here, you'd have the title of the essay or title of anything that you're trying to do, revise, the title of the module, and then you take out the branches. It doesn't have to be 5. It can be how many you want. And then take out branches and paragraph 3, paragraph 4, so whatever. If it's an essay, obviously you'll have the paragraphs written down and the opening and the conclusion. And if it's for your revision purposes, then you would have modules or with the titles within the modules. You can see it's very colorful, it includes pictures and everything's just in one page. So this is for mostly visual learners. Personally, myself, I used to use mind maps a lot whilst back in sixth form revising and also in uni exams. It just used to be much easier because everything was in one page. So use a mind map to put down all the ideas you have around the topic. So separate branches could represent each subtopic and connect keywords to each. So it might also be useful to add in any literacy techniques, persuasive techniques, or example of vocabulary that you want to include. So branches of your mind map could represent each paragraph of your writing. Each branch can include ideas and key vocabulary. So some people start with a mind map to get the ideas down, then use bullet points to put these ideas in order. So the next example of planning is bullet points. When you make a plan with bullet points, you essentially make a list. So one advantage of using bullet points is to plan is that it's easy to write longer phrases and sentences. Here's an example of how you might use bullet points to plan. So as you can see over here, it says that one advantage of using bullet points is to plan. That's easy to write longer phrases and sentences. What it's trying to say is the fact that for a mind map, obviously you don't have much space to write longer sentences down. You could write keywords or key phrases, but obviously with a bullet point plan here, you can see you can write as many as long sentences you may want, but obviously it depends on how you learn. Every person is different. So this is a bullet point example plan. So you would have your question first. This is a plan which I have done for you. So this question is the question for this essay was to write, for this article was to write an article for young people that offers advice on how to deal with stress with the modern life. So the plan is to include causes of stress, for example, mobile phones, social media, bullying, etc. And then I want to include health problems and how to overcome stress. So these are the 3 main topics that I want to include. And then I've put this bullet point down for myself to remember to use headlines and to include similes, interesting vocab, and some questions and alliteration. And I've got headlines that I have here. So from stress to rest, go easy on yourself, take a tech break. Also the audience. So I want this article towards the young people. And then I have the purpose is to inform, to warn, and to advise. And then the article should include headline and more formal English language. So over here that I've put is just basically a list, but obviously you can include more detail and much more longer sentences depending on how you learn. So this is the 3rd example of planning. A flowchart is like a mind map that provides a visual structure for planning. So it helps you to order your ideas and paragraphs into an effective structure. So some writers might find that flowcharts help them to focus on each important stage of the writing process. And for example, this flowchart that I will show you in a minute shows a planning for an article about social media. So a flowchart and a mind map are very similar. They are a visual structure again, so for visual learners, and it helps people to order the ideas in a way that it's just more effective. And for some, it's all in one page. So this is an example. Obviously, the introduction is social media, or is it dangerous? Is it not dangerous? So we're arguing over here. So section 1 would include negatives, and the section 2 would include positives. Section 3 would include advice, and under each bullet point in each topic, I have 3 sections that I want to talk about. So the negative, overuse, bullying, a lack of concentration; positives, 24 avenues, connection. And then I want to argue. So obviously, once you argue, you do get better marks that I will explain later on in the module. So section 3 is going to be about advice on social media and set times, take care. These are the 3 main headlines that I will be using. And then in conclusion, I want to talk about life before social media makes the world smaller, opportunities. So as you can see, it's very similar to a mind map, but a mind map branches the ideas out and uses more color, but obviously you can use more color over here too, but this is a straight flow chart. There's like a more structure to it. So then it just branches out to the side like this. Okay, so moving on, the structure of a flow chart. So as I discussed before, the writer begins to explore the dangers of social media. I've just written it all down in detail for you to read if you want to read again. If you would like to pause here and just read in detail what this would be about. So yeah. So this will be followed by negative. So you can see that includes negative aspects, talks about the positive side effects of social media, and then this 3rd section, and then in conclusion. Okay, I hope you understood that. And then the 4th example of planning is a table. A table can be useful if you're writing a piece that covers different points of view. For example, in an article where you explore both sides of an argument. Yeah. And then an example, a question would be, write a feature article for a newspaper in which you explore the pros and cons of going to music festival. Okay. I just want to see, yes, I'm recording. I just want to double check. So I'm just going to read that again because I was just wondering if my slides recording or not. Sorry about that. So a table can be useful if you're writing a piece that covers different points of views. For example, in an article where you explore both sides of an argument. Okay, so this is an example that I've made up for you again of a table. plan. So the question is, write a feature article for a newspaper in which you explore the pros and cons of going to a music festival. So note how the writer of this plan, so myself, has allocated a specific time for each section. And I've also included a reminder to leave time to proofread my writing. So I have my introduction here, so explain what festival is, refer to the download and the we, so that's just extra terminology of a musical festival. And then for and against. So this is an argument table essay that I'm going to be writing. So that's for, fun, sociable, opportunity to relax, against, expensive, too much for teens. And then I conclude my arguments, and then I have to proofread. So I'll put down here, check spelling, include sophisticated vocabulary, and include a range of punctuation. So yeah. So this is what I have given myself, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes to plan it all out. So if you would want to use this kind of plan, you could. Personally, I prefer mind maps and a flowchart. Over here, to me, it just looks everywhere, but for some, it might be good. Okay, if you want to pause and have a look at this plan. So key things to remember. The key things to remember are to try different plans and use the one that works best for you. So include reminders of key areas to focus on within your writing. So think about allocating your time carefully so that you can complete your writing, okay? So it's also important to edit and proofread. So this is a quote by Roald Dahl. He's a famous writer here in England. He's written many books. For example, Matilda, I'm not sure if you've read that, but it's very popular down over here. So he has said, by the time I am nearing the end of a story, the first part will have been reread and altered and corrected at least 150 times. I am suspicious of both faculty and speed. So good writing is essentially rewriting. I am positive of this. So over here, he explains the importance of proofreading your work and editing your work. The better proofread the writing is, the better the writing will be. So proofreading. Proofreading involves reading back over your work to check for mistakes that you might have missed and to edit or improve what you have written. All professional writers revise their work over and over again and improve or alter it until they are satisfied. So here are a few things to focus on in your proofreading. So it's important to have capital letters, omissions, punctuation, and spelling. So make sure you read back over your work and check that each sentence starts with a capital letter. Check that you've also used capital letters for names and places. And if you have used a personal pronoun, I make sure it is capital. I've seen people write a story before or mention themselves and they always have the I as a lowercase. Make sure it's always capital and make sure you haven't accidentally placed capital letters mid-word or sentences. So omissions, it's quite common to miss words out when you're writing under pressure or even to miss letters from words. So check your writing to make sure that your sentences are complete. Punctuation. Check that your sentences end with full stops. I have seen people before they write paragraphs and paragraphs, but sometimes not even paragraphs, just a big block of writing without any punctuation, without any commas, without any full stops. And it's just words and words and words. So check you haven't put commas where full stops or connectivities would be more effective, okay? Even the most expert of spellers will make simple spelling mistakes when writing under pressure. So prepare thoroughly and learn spelling rules and strategies, okay? So obviously these are 4 subheadings are the main way to proofread your work. Me myself, whilst I do write your presentation, I proofread it before recording. So it's just important. Even with all the essays and the exams that you might have, you should always proofread, because we are human at the end of the day and we do make so many mistakes. So what to improve? When you proofread, try to imagine that you are reading your work for the first time, or that you are reading someone else's work. If you had to give that person advice on how to improve, what would you ask them to change? So proofreading, it is a really useful skill to be able to edit and improve your own work. Also, another tip is to just print your work out. If you're doing it on a laptop, just print your work out and proofread it like that. That's what I used to do at uni. I just couldn't look at the screen all the time and reread my work on the computer. So I used to print it out, sort the spellings out, and then alter them on my computer, if that's what you would like to take on. So now it's your turn. So this is a sample task, again, 30 to 40 minutes. Your task is to write a plan for a non-fictional article of your choice. You can use any of the plan examples that has been discussed today: mind maps, bullet points, and flowcharts. Oops. As I said, we're all human at the end of the day. Made a silly mistake. So you can use any of the plan examples that has been discussed today: mind maps, bullet points, and flowcharts. So this was just an example of how you should properly proofread your work. I did, but I just did it once. You should do it at least 3 times. Okay, so think of structure and formats we discussed from previous lessons and how that can be interpreted in your plan. So you have to write a non-fictional plan of any of your choice. Anything. Could be about space, could be about just the daily life, what you love, what you don't. And you can use any of the plan examples. So for example, a mind map, bullet point, flowchart, and what else was it? A table. Yeah, mind maps, bullet points, flowcharts, and a table, which I forgot to add in, sorry. And tables. So think of the structure and formats that we have already discussed from previous lessons. So how to write an article, think of the article structure that I told you about. I'm hoping that you jotted your notes down. So think of all the structure and formats that we discussed and how you can interpret these into your plan. Okay, so good luck. I hope you enjoy this task, and inshallah we'll see you tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be discussing essay writing, so organizing your information and ideas. Okay, so thank you for today's lesson. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you tomorrow, inshallah. Okay.